Hello everyone, Adam here, and welcome to the second Gameplay Review UK Challenge of 2020. This month's video features the 1910s, and will mostly be focusing on the types of aircraft used in World War I. But before we get into that, Just a Dutch Guy wanted to show us a pre-war aircraft called the Fokker Spin. The Fokker Spin was made in 1910, and was the first airplane built by Dutch aviation pioneer Anthony Fokker. He would come to play an important role over the next few years of aircraft development, but for now, you can see the aircraft is still very rudimentary at this stage. Spin means spider, and it was called this because the many bracing wires used to strengthen the aircraft, people thought it resembled a giant spider. I think you'll agree that Just a Dutch Guy's craft shares the likeness. Anthony Fokker would initially become famous for flying his spin around the skyline of his hometown, but it would not be long before these eccentric men and their flying machines would be called upon to serve in the Great War that would start just a few years later. The First World War was probably the most horrific war in history in the sense that the weaponry had taken a massive step forwards, but military ideology was still post-Napoleonic. This led to thousands of soldiers at a time being mowed down by machine guns, in a quagmire of blast, shrapnel, craters and gas in a never-ending attritional trench warfare. It would seem this war was crying out for something, anything that could help break the stalemate, or give one side the upper hand, and for the first time in history, the battles would reach all four corners of the globe and spill over into the skies above. By the start of the war, people had already been using observation balloons for years, but this was a relatively safe role in the sense that they would intentionally be placed out of range of enemy fire. To start with, the aeroplane was also used for reconnaissance and artillery spotting, but due to their manoeuvrability they found themselves in close proximity to the enemy quite frequently. The pilots soon decided to take pistols and other light weapons on board with them, so they could at least feel like they weren't totally defenceless. But this small change in attitude would soon spread, and before long, these aircraft would become the most formidable machines ever created by man. While airplanes were still finding their place on the battlefield, bombing runs were already being carried out by airships. These colossal blimps could travel comparatively vast distances and drop bombs on most enemy targets. Even though balloons were still used throughout most of the war, they were the first asset to be made obsolete by the new aircraft. The balloons became easy targets for the planes. Initially, balloonatics were issued with parachutes in case they were shot down, and eventually they were instructed to bail out on sight of enemy airplanes. Planes were also becoming larger and able to carry bomb loads, meaning now even the mighty Zeppelins would become redundant. The war in the skies would now be totally dominated by airplanes, and the arms race that would follow would leave its mark on history forever. The main drawback to early aircraft was that it was hard to place an armament that could be easily and reliably used in a place that had a clear forward-facing field of fire. The main problem being that the ideal place for their gun was in front of them and pointing straight forward. However, this would normally be where the propeller would be, and you would most likely shoot off your own propeller before hitting an enemy aircraft. You didn't want guns on the wings at this time due to lots of factors, one being that the guns were very prone to jamming due to the lack of standardization of quality of ammunition at this time, and no pilot wanted to climb onto the wings for clearing or even reloading for that matter. Needless to say, there were many different ways people tried to solve this problem, but for now you either mounted the gun over the top of the wings, at the back of the plane, or placed the engine itself at the back, which was far from an ideal solution, the main issue being that there was always more drag caused by this configuration. Then came the Fokker Scourge. Anthony Fokker had been busy on his aircraft design and had come up with an ingenious way to synchronize the machine gun's fire so it would always miss the propeller. Basically, there was a rod connected to the propeller shaft that would only engage the gun's trigger as each blade passed the line of fire. The first of these Fokker Eindeckers engaged in air combat during July 1915. The current Allied aircraft could barely keep up, and their two-seater variants became little more than Fokker fodder. This new wave of aircraft were not only better armed, they also housed rotary engines, which for a time saw a massive improvement in aircraft performance. It would take the Allies the rest of the year to catch up with the capabilities and tactics of the Central Powers. But if they thought the death toll was high now in 1916, 1918 could be considered apocalyptic, with the life expectancy of pilots dropping to below 18 hours worth of flight time. With this long-winded but still heavily diluted overview of air combat in the First World War out of the way, I think we should just enjoy the incredible replica aircraft that have been sent to me over the past month. thank you for watching this month's video. I hope you've really enjoyed yourselves. Personally, I was blown away by the quality of the craft files that were sent to me last month. The extra details and all of the features added to the craft really impressed me. So thanks again if you sent your craft to me. And also, for anyone watching, if you'd like to participate, you can join our Discord today and you can maybe be featured in the next video. So thanks again for watching, and see you later. I truly hope you have enjoyed my videos. They do take more and more time for me to produce, so please do consider supporting me on Patreon so I can focus on providing the best content I can. Please share and like this video, and if you do subscribe, do remember to hit the bell icon.